Okay, I'll admit, I was very skeptical when they announced that they were doing a fourth one. I thought, really? They're going to do a fourth Toy Story after the third one ended so perfectly? So I went in very skeptical about this movie. The trailers didn't really sell me on it, but I went, alright, this is getting pretty good reviews. It has an almost 100% of Rotten Tomatoes, but I thought, okay, that's either Disney buying off the critics, or that's people being blinded by nostalgia. And I'm not one to be blinded by nostalgia, by the way. Because if I were blinded by nostalgia, I would have given Incredibles 2 an absolutely glowing review, but I did not like that movie. Because Incredibles 2 had little to no effort put into it. But my goodness, if they had put half the effort into Incredibles 2 that they had put into this movie, it would have been vastly superior to the first one. Because this movie is so good. If Toy Story 3 made you cry, this movie will make you cry even harder. They did not need to go as hard on this movie as they did, but they did. It's a very mature film. It's not so mature that I'm not saying, kids shouldn't go see it. No, it's still fine. There's nothing bad in it for kids. It's perfectly fine. And it's not like the level of Toy Story 3 where they almost burned to death in an incinerator. But there's a lot of things about growing up and loss and finding your purpose in life and how you can't always get what you want. And that's a lot of heavy stuff for a kid's movie. But, man, even from the opening credits, I was just tearing up. Oh, man, I was like, man, they're really going to start with the feels on this one. I haven't cried so much at the beginning of a Pixar movie since Up. Oh, man, they put so much effort into this. And the whole plot about, going to find Bo Peep and what happened to her, and how everybody kind of gets their perfect ending. Woody has to stay with Bo Peep to be with her, and they break up the gang. Oh, man. Man, that last line of the movie, with Buzz Lightyear saying, to infinity, and Woody going, and beyond. I cried so much. I'm like, this is my childhood. This is part of my childhood ending right here. Oh, man, which I feel old, because this was a sold-out show. We got the last, we didn't even get good seats there. We had to go to, the front row. The front row. We had to look up to see what's happening, but our theater has reclining seats, so it wasn't really that bad, which is good. But yeah, completely packed show at 10 a.m. today on Tuesday morning, because it's summer and it's a kids movie and they want to go out in the early day before it gets really hot, because we live in a part of the world where it's really hot. But man, I felt really old because I think I was the only person in there that was not a parent that was over the age of 6. I wasn't even alive when the first movie came out, but I was 2 when the second one came out, so I still grew up with these movies. But, I don't think any of these kids were alive when the first 2 came out, and they were probably, 2 or 3 when the third one came out, so they didn't grow up with this franchise. So, and it's funny because you could tell they did not have an emotional weight when they left the theater. I actually, when I was leaving the theater, I heard a little kid say, "That was boring," because they didn't grow up with these movies. They doesn't mean as much to them as it did to me. But, man, I was just crying during this movie. Okay, so the good about Key and Peele are hilarious in this movie. They work back off of each other so well. Keanu Reeves, also spot on. This whole movie's very good. It's also very creepy. There's a lot of parts of the movie where I'm like, did they remember that they were making a kids movie? Because there's some parts of the movie that are really scary, that are into a horror film almost, with jump scares, these creepy goosebumps looking dummies. Oh man, but but it was still a very sweet movie. Even the villain in this movie wasn't a villain necessarily. She just had bad methods of getting what she wanted, but in the end it all worked out. A very, very sweet, heartfelt movie. And Woody finds a new purpose in life. Not having to stay with Buzz, but deciding to stay with Bo Peep and help toys find new owners. Because, I was crying because he can't really let Andy go until the end of the movie. The third movie was about Andy letting him go, but this one was about him having to let Andy go and having to accept that Bonnie is his new owner. Which, hold on, there's a problem here, though, because Bonnie took him on the trip with her. Wouldn't she notice that he's not there? I mean, does she really not care about Woody that much? That she's not going to care that he's not there? And that seems kind of disrespectful to Andy, but I don't know. But, man, what else can I say about this movie? He decides to stay with Bo Peep and find his new purpose of helping other toys find their kid. Tom Hanks said that he cried when he read the last, page of the script. I can see why. I thought that was just him exaggerating to get people to go see Toy Story 4 because it wasn't going to be very good. But they tried very hard on this movie. I have to praise the animation. First movie came out in 1995, and having gone back and watched the other ones, the animation still good, but it's come a long way, and it really came a long way in this movie. There is so much detail. The one good thing about The Good Dinosaur was the animation. The plot, not so much. But the animation in Good Dinosaur was phenomenal, because it looked like realistic backgrounds with the animation. Same thing here, except the story for this one's actually good too. So, yeah, there's like so much detail. Every little dust mite, every little crack in the old toys, even the cat in the movie, I thought was a real cat. I looked it up. It's not real. It's CGI. I was like, wow. They put so much effort into this movie. I can see why this movie was delayed a couple of years. This is supposed to come out like 2017 or 2018 or something, but they had to delay it. I can see why. Because the animation alone probably set it back a couple of years. There's so much detail. Pixar made a new computer program to animate Sully's fur back when Monsters, Inc. came out. So they revolutionized animation, and they're still revolutionizing animation with this movie. The animation is very good, the story's phenomenal, the characters are great, so much emotion put into this movie. This is one of the great Pixar movies. I've noticed the ones that no one remembers, the Pixar movies nobody remembers, are the ones that have little to no emotion put into them. And those movies are, there's more than these that I'm listing, but the ones that come to mind that I forget they made are Monsters University, Brave, Good Dinosaur, Finding Dory, Cars. I forget those came out. When people talk about them, I go, oh yeah, those Bugs Life, right? I'm like, oh yeah, those exist. Because there's no emotion with them. They're just kind of entertaining-ish kids movies, and even some of them aren't even that entertaining. But this is going to go down as one of the great Pixar movies. It's not going to be forgotten like those other ones. This has genuine heart, genuine emotion, and I have talked about how I think Disney kind of has the Oscars monopolized, because it's almost always a Pixar or a Disney movie, even when it doesn't deserve it, which is why I was very surprised and very pleased when Spider-Verse won last year. I thought for sure it was going to be Wreck-It Ralph or Incredibles 2, even though neither of those deserved it, just because of the monopolization. But this is the one time, granted, this isn't the only animated film coming out this year. There's other animated films coming out, but if this one wins, I won't be surprised. And it actually deserves it this time. It's not going to be like, well, I'm not surprised because, Pixar has a monopoly on the Oscars. No, it deserves it. It deserves every award that it gets. This is not nostalgia blinding me. This is a genuinely great movie. My goodness, this was so good. I was left thinking. This movie made me think. And it's a kid's movie. This movie made me think about life. This made me think about my purpose in life. There's some very heavy questions raised in this movie, but they did that for us. This is akin to like a Hayao Miyazaki film. That's how good this movie is. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I would give this a solid 9 out of 10 just because of the plot hole of Bonnie not really noticing where Woody is. They didn't clear that up. They're not really going to clear it up, really, but... And that's kind of disrespectful to Andy. He's like, well, Andy gave me this toy, but I'm not going to... And his favorite toy at that. But I don't get to care about it. Like, that seems disrespectful. So had they kind of cleared that up a little more, would have been a perfect 10. But that's a glaring issue for me. So because of that, I'm taking the point off. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. But that's still a very good movie. Considering it's Toy Story 4, a 9 out of 10 seems like that's more than it actually deserves. But it does. So 9 out of 10 for me. A-, solid 4 out of 5 stars. 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. Definitely go see this. Fantastic.